Hello folks, Richard Moore, and once again I'm in my office on wheels. That's just the nature of the business, and so I've got a lot of things I'd like to cover, and to be able to sit down in the studio and do it would be a blessing. But sometimes when duty calls and there's other things and it's time sensitive, I feel it's time sensitive, then I'll just do a video on the fly, and that's what I'm doing now. So you've heard myself and David Marr and some others that are affiliated with USAGSA speak of the Brady List, the National Brady List. I'm just going to touch on that a second. This list is from 1963, Brady versus Maryland, and after that ruling, I believe it's a Supreme Court ruling that the law enforcement officers and prosecutors and so forth exhibit some type of transparency. In other words, if a cop on the beat is not doing his job, lying, etc., we need to know about that. And this is in fact exculpatory evidence, and first thing it does is it takes away the integrity of that particular office, not the profession. And so I don't want to get this misconstrued that I'm not a defund the police guy. I believe that law enforcement is an essential part of our country, of law and order. Now, do we have some serious problems with agencies going unchecked? Well, obviously we do. But anarchy isn't the reason, isn't the answer. The answer, my friends, is that we do our job as American citizens and do due diligence. The town that you live in, the community that you live in, what have you. Who knows more than the citizens that have interactions that are within the same community as these individuals, whether or not there's information that really needs to be part of the record? And that's where you come in. It makes no difference who you are, what you identify with politically, or any of these things. It has everything to do with participating in a free society, in this republic, and holding those in a position of trust accountable. The Brady List is not a platform for smear tactics and innuendo, etc. This is a fact-based checks and balances system. For instance, I've got more times than I can count where I've reported serious crimes to law enforcement. When I did that, I have a time, date, place, and the officer I reported it with. What did they do about this serious crime? In many cases, absolutely nothing. Why did they do nothing? Because their complicity with community-oriented policing. They are confused about what master they're to serve, and that master that they serve is the citizen, not a pet project that pits citizens against other citizens. And that's what community-oriented policing does. It's not an all-inclusive program. They're out there spending millions of dollars you best believe that there are a lot of people, millions of Americans, on the short end of the stick, and that is putting it lightly. Now, that scenario that I just gave you is in fact a valid complaint for that officer on the Brady list. That becomes a part of their permanent record. I mean, you can't get that toothpaste back in the tube. They did what they did. And gaslighting and marginalizing a victim of any crime is a crime in itself. A horrible and unthinkable miscarriage of justice. So you can follow the link. I'll put the link in here, and just scroll down at the bottom. It says Citizen Report. You can make this report anonymously. If you don't want your name, unlike me, I want my name on it. And it gives you the various options, what agency they're with, and all those things. It's very simple. You don't have to write a thesis. It's none of that. Now, if you have audio or video or photographic evidence to support something that you think that needs to be part of the record, then by all means, there's a place in the body when you're giving the details, and you can link a YouTube channel or video. There's several options at the top in which you can do that. If it's an attorney, it goes these trigger and go through the chain of command, public integrity, bar association, etc. Now, every victim, people that identify themselves as targeted individuals, and once you get past that slave name, then maybe you'll become a cop watcher and join us on the Brady list and holding these people accountable, knowing this program lives and dies by those chief law enforcement officers in your city and county, period. We're not running parallel vigilantes and then the legal side and the illegal side. There's only one way. And if they're doing that, whose plate does that fall on? Chief law enforcement officer. All roads lead back to the chief law enforcement officer. Now, until we start holding these individual officers, sheriffs, and chiefs, and prosecutors, and attorneys accountable, we'll get more of the same. So that link will be posted in there. Hopefully more of you will pick up what I'm putting down. And I feel like a lot of times that what I'm saying just it becomes a hum, because we have had for so long the indoctrination of social media telling you, the victim, how to think, what to think, and you're all caught up. Many are all caught up in their narrative, and their narrative being whatever they have latched on to, wherever they've found a place. And most of these narratives involve what I call the Area 51 Department of High Crimes and Misdemeanors. And of course, that's valid, and of course that's going on, and absolutely, you'll never get a day in court with it. It can only happen with warm, breathing bodies making it happen. When you change that focus and you get off the high horse of someone validating you, and unless they're talking about the individuals of DNA sequencing or some phony baloney, it's an endless discussion of endless perpetrators and trolls that have low IQs, and their job in life is to be a troll and a low IQ perp. They never say anything of substance, and that's all it takes to get off the races. You know, they're always jumping into something that you feel like you're getting trapped into an Amway meeting or something, and they're trying to get you to sell Amway or something. there's never have full disclosure on the front end. You don't hear me talking about those. Now, am I saying that these things hadn't happened? But listen, if folks, some of you are going to have to wake up and smell the roses here. They want you to talk about the things that will discredit not only you, but everybody. So my tolerance is very small. I very seldom get on here and harp and carry on about how I'm dying and how many different ways I'm dying. I mean, I've talked to people and they sound like the cruise director on the Titanic. And as an advocate and warrior for victims across this nation, I can only do my job by having my mind on that, not on a death sentence. Woe is me. People are having plum parties. That's spelled P-L-O-M. Poor little old me. And you know what? It's not, there's very few things that a person can say that's going on in their life that I hadn't been there and done that and not living through it right now. I can tell you this, USAGSA is, I'm going to be real clear here, is the place, the go-to place for real information, for real solutions, for real victims. Not these other groups. I don't know what, but I'm telling you, they're not citizens reporters for the Brady list. I've got a direct conduit for every victim of targeting right now. You hit that link, you're in. That's the inroads. Now, we know there's millions in America that suffer, that are being targeted in some way or another. Now, there's some things that are more effective on some people and less effective on others. But I can promise you, it's all out of the same playbook, and it's a smorgasbord. All sources lead to the same place. We are on the same page. My platform is not a platform of whining and carrying on, because I listen. All I've got to do is sit there and think about all of my problems and stuff and what's going on with me. I can't tell how many times I've been arrested for exercising my protected free speech in the last 18 months by law enforcement, protecting criminals, working with community-oriented policing. Now, I don't know what these other people can tell you. Many people say they contact me to tell me how long they've been victimized. Look, I am not, okay, I was born into it. So after we get through sharing more stories, are we any further along? Do you want to take the next step and be proactive? Not only help yourself, but help other people. I learned a long time ago, you get everything in life that you want if you help enough other people get what they want. This is not about Richard Moore with a bogus, fraudulent conviction, throwing me in prison for almost 10 years. And that very thing, that is their excuse to relentlessly target, commit crimes unspeakable against myself and my family without any sign of slowing up. These people are criminal heathens at best. Can it be challenged? You bet your bottom line it can be challenged, and that's what I'm doing, and I will continue to do it. I will not back down in the face of adversity and continue to watch law enforcement continue to violate my constitutional protected free speech by arresting me because I said something that one of their perps didn't like. This will only go so far, ladies and gentlemen. But until, so we can say well, who's your attorney? Can we get an attorney? All this kind of stuff. We'll save that for another time. I'm representing myself. I'm the fool that has an attorney that's representing himself, okay? You see, they assume that with all the perk groups that they have and stuff online, by the time they confuse you with all that stuff, why, you'll be just completely deflated. And you just will have no idea. So for those that say, well, all these things are happening to me and I can't prove it. Well, I don't know why you're talking to me, okay? I mean, I was real clear. There's groups for people that's got all kinds of things going on with them and they can't prove it, okay? And that's generally indicative of somebody that is riding on some Area 51 stuff, okay? You're looking at the wrong thing. Those are the things I ignore. I'm looking for the man behind the curtain. We're all looking for the same person. It's the same program. And it's one thing is that once they get somebody off of the races, Havana syndrome. So we might get a law passed here in 2 or 3 years. Well, I've sponsored the Targeted Individual Protection Act petition with change.org. And that's going to Cindy Hyatt Smith, I'm here in Mississippi, and 27 other members of the United States House of Representatives. Both aisles. And some heavy hitters. And with enough signatures, that gives me and others the ability to leverage the conversation with our elected officials. We've got less than 500 signatures. Some people like it because we didn't mention their eyelids was getting vibrated or something. I mean, what the? It doesn't cost you anything. And so less than 500 signatures tells me there's not that many. We know there's millions, but there's a tremendous disconnect of jaded, salty, bitter, single, narrow-minded victims out there that you know, it's the kind of people you can be around and you can ask them anything, can't tell them a thing. And look, actions speak louder than words. When I was the new kid on the block, and I said, this dog ain't gonna hunt, and this is what we need to do. And every single thing that I said that we need to do, I have done it, okay? I hadn't talked about it, hadn't been a good talk game, it's been reality. Are people dying? Yes. I've done several stories on individuals that their deaths were reported one way, but in fact, nothing could be further from the truth about how it was reported. Nothing. And so this is unacceptable. When you've got a child, they said, well, they accidentally killed themselves. You know that there's, what are they not telling? This is because we have agencies and a program that is not, does not exhibit any transparency, and there is no process, they allow no process for the person they target to challenge this. But there is a process that we know of, and I've kind of shortened the word. The whole word is due process. That's what they're circumventing. That 5th and 14th Amendment right is being abjectly and illegally circumvented. This is the reason. It's hush hush, and this is the reason for the gaslighting, pretending like it's not going on, because the slush fund of billions of dollars going to community oriented policing are hanging in the balance. Careers are hanging in the balance. A lot of people have been enjoying a free ride on the taxpayer and on the backs of countless lives that have been destroyed by this program. I can't think of anything any more serious. Some people would rather sit and hear someone from Australia talk about a patent on a satellite that can zoom in on somebody's thoughts or something. And I'm sure that's never been me. It never will be me. I could care less about any of that, because I can reach out and touch those, and that's where you start. It all starts in your backyard, not somewhere else. And if it is to be, it's up to me. Do not sit around and wait. Well, I'm going to wait and see if we get a class action going. Folks, let me tell you, if you buy that, that's one of the biggest lies ever told. Like, all I want to do is hold your hand, and I'm with the IRS, and I'm here to help you, and we're going to get up a class action. And that sounds like these other bogus groups that just wear you out with emails and got all these wonderful things going, and have you just worked up to a foaming froth, and 12 months from now, you'll still be worked up to a foaming froth, and you won't be any further along you was when you first got worked up. Damn a froth. Damn getting worked up. Many of us have had enough. And for those that have had enough, then you follow along with what we're doing here. I'll promise you, I will guarantee you that what you're going to be getting, and I get people contact me all the time, and I won't jump on their narrative because they're a little foggy about where to start. Who is it? They still doing the who, what shuffle. Okay? And they don't want answers. They're quick to talk about V2K or something. You can block it in 5 minutes. And you know what? These V2K cultists, that pisses them off more than anything. Why? I don't know why it pisses them off. Like somebody's got terminal cancer. Oh, I've got the cure to cancer. It's real. Won't cost you a thing. In 10 minutes, you'll be cancer free. And just and piss them off. Dog, you're a lunatic. You don't understand how bad cancer is. And you're off to the races. Same way with VCK. Or if I could stop it, I would have. They want to argue about that, and they never asked me how. Because somehow I'm wrong. And if that little problem is solved, then they're not going to have anything to talk about. Their pulpit is gone. Many of you have taken on the charge in the pulpit of a lost cause. There's not a precedence. You'll never get a precedence. Sorry, it's not going to happen. History speaks for it. There is a precedent for those violating civil and constitutional rights. There's nothing else that needs to be done other than you getting up off your ass and just doing a little bit of homework and a little documentation. That's it. It's that simple. And how often you do it every day. And that means you might have an hour a day to get on social media and jump in that quagmire and whine and bitch, moan, and groan because you've got other things going on. And that's called getting your life back, getting your house in order, doing what a red-blooded American is supposed to do. Not in a fascist Mark Zuckerberg quagmire from hell. That's not where you go. So, change.org, TI, Targeted Individual Protection Act. Sign it, share it, and keep sharing it, and keep telling people to sign it until we get that piece of legislation put through that when they get funding for anybody everybody's getting the money, that now they'll have to somehow let the victims know, okay, before we've been lying to you, pretending like it wasn't going on. It is going on. If you got a complaint, take it over here. Here's your complaint form. They're not going to like this. Tough shit. It's our tax dollars. And if they don't like it, get some other kind of creepy, draconian, diabolical program and jump on it. But we're going to get accountability because you're spending tax dollars and you're targeting Americans. It's that simple. Sign the petition. It should have 100,000 signatures on it. It's got less than 500. What is the deal? Now, there's a lot of perps out there. They won't touch it with 10 foot. They're scared of everything. That's the reason they're doing what they're doing. that's the reason they do what they do, and they're just as creepy as they come. We out them all the time, especially those malignant, narcissistic, criminal malignancy is what they're practicing with, because they're those that will get on the World Wide Web and get on these things understand that world is not as big as they want you to think it is. It's not. And so as we kind of do the things that we do, we watch these people, and lo and behold, their rats are usually the closest people to you at all times. Okay? That's the deal. Sometimes they will get once removed, a rat somewhere else to throw you off. That's all part of their cloak and dagger BS scheme. Yes, many people have a lot at stake because they have a lot of sins they don't want exposed. Should have thought about that before you started driving people to homelessness, unemployment, to suicide, murder for hire, on and on, right here in America. The silent genocide is no longer silent. We're talking about it. And unless we can get on a page that is palatable and understandable, then my friend, you individually and everyone, including myself, it's just that much more work for those that are on the front lines fighting. What I do, I counsel with people daily. I make these videos, and then I put the information out there. I'm working. I'm with the founder of the Brady List, the owner, and I'm doing these things, okay, to add legitimacy to what we're doing. We're not a fringe group huddled around singing Kumbaya somewhere in the middle of the desert. We're people that had lives at one time. And because other people decided they were going to insert themselves and change it, we have been changed, and money can never replace that. But money can change the way they do business, and that's what I'm talking about. You can support me and USAGSA by, you can go to our YouTube channel, and of course I've got a couple of spaces on Quora, Tumblr, WordPress. You can email me at WordPress. You can follow my blog there, United States Anti-Gang-Stalking-Association at WordPress.com. That's the email, and that is the blog site. But by sharing my channel and subscribing, doesn't cost you anything, then you're doing something that is positive, and I appreciate those that have been there. And folks, I don't want you to get confused thinking that there's just so many people. It never is, because there's so many people that believe to other people. And so I've got, and I can't, if I start naming names, then I will always leave important people out, and I don't want to do that. But I will say that Kevin and Elizabeth, and Johnny, Todd, Michelle, I've got some true blues that are in the same, if not worse, circumstances than I'm in. But they want to see change. They want to see change. And they know that when they support what I'm doing, they don't have to worry about whether or not, if that money is going, is falling by the wayside. You know, I ask you, pray before you make a contribution. And if God moves you to do that, then whatever you give And if every bit of it goes by the wayside, that is not your concern, because God's going to bless you for what you did. And the person that received it, if it wasn't a good steward, believe me, God have mercy on that person's soul. But ask God, and I'll tell you, that $20, $30, $40, $50, $100 going to this association, I can't think of a better place. Because this is what, all these things, legal bills, the legal bills are astronomical. And unless others pool their resources and help me with this, then we're absolutely in quicksand. Now, I don't believe that we're going to be in quicksand. I don't believe that God would have had me in this situation had he not already had the exit strategy. And I'm not complaining about it. But you know, God says you have not because you ask not. He knows what we need. But he just wants us to act, our faith. And so as I express that to you, I'm asking you to search yourself there. Those links will be there as well. You can become a Patreon at United States Anti-Gang-Stalking Association. Have a GoFundMe. It's a large GoFundMe. And for those that are confused about that, it's the $25,000 price tag. That's for legal fees. That's for yours truly. Many people are not willing to stand up for their constitutional rights. Hundreds and thousands have bled out to have that, only for those in positions of trust to violate it and walk up and down the graves and disrespect those that fought and died to keep it. And my friends, I'm going to tell you, I've got a backbone, not a wishbone. I'm going to stand up. I believe in God and country, and I am a true American. I'm going to stand up. I'm not going to yield to fascism, to communism, or to a new way or a new plan, as if something changed while I was asleep. What's really going on? And if it requires me to take a bullet for my beliefs, then so be it. Then so be it. I'll fight. I'm fighting for you. And again, if it was about me, I could have taken myself and others out of the equation a long time ago. It's not a comfortable, but you know, God didn't promise me comfort. He did not promise you comfort. As a matter of fact, he said that, you know, it would be more, but he said that to take our load. He said, take my load upon you. My way is easy and my burden is light. And he takes that and he carries it. That is the answer, by the way, to the world's problems and man's problems was solved on Calvary's cross. I can't tell you anything without that, with 100% assurance that I'm 100% accurate, other than Jesus Christ and Him crucified. He fixed it at Calvary. Whatever's going on with you, He'll fix it. That broken home, He'll fix it. He can fix it. He did fix it. Some of you are praying for that prodigal daughter, that prodigal son, for that restoration, for that job, for that healing in their body. The doctors don't know what's wrong. God does. But we've got to make this exchange. And I'm going to leave with this, folks. And I've got some, should be back on here tomorrow with David Mara. Maybe I'll let David talk. Is God demands that we give Him everything. All of it. Everything you got. He wants it. But in exchange for that, He gives you everything He's got. That is a no-brainer. That is a no-brainer. So those pains, those scars, that worry, that hurt, that disappointment, that anxiety, that depression, give it to Him. And don't take it back. Don't be an Indian giver. And just watch. He's not slow. Just watch. That, folks, if that didn't stir you up and your spoon has fell out of your bowl, this is harvest time. There's people right now that's hearing this that need to hear it. And that's how we do it, folks. One at a time. One at a time. So I need you to help me, to help you and others to help themselves. Until next time, God bless you.